This shit more than a game.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yesterday, the New Orleans Pelicans lost by 46 points. 46 points. And I'd be willing to bet some of you all watching this show didn't even realize that. You didn't even know until I just said it out loud that the Pelicans yesterday lost by 46 points. And I find it very interesting that the same fan base that shares a love and passion for the New Orleans Saints is technically the same fan base of the basketball team that is literally the neighbor of that football team. And not that John O'Barnes' timeline is the be-all, end-all for New Orleans sports discourse on Twitter, but I mean, not to sound cocky, but I am pretty significant when it comes to sports discourse on social media now. So my platform is a bit of a microcosm of what the discourse of New Orleans sports looks like. And it is pretty striking the difference between when the Saints lose a game and when the Pelicans lose a game like they lost last night. Hell, the Saints could lose a game by 2 scores, 9 points. And there'll be World War III in New Orleans. They'll be ready to tear down all of the roads on Canal Street and all of the corresponding blocks. The Pelicans lost by 46 points last night, and it was the Pelicans. You know, we already knew that the season was over by December and January, so we're malcontent, Jono. It's no big deal. We already knew. We just don't care anymore. And I find that odd. I find that interesting because, I mean, let's be real. We knew the Saints season last season was over by October. Damn sure by the end of Thanksgiving, we knew the season was over. And yet when the Saints lost in December to the Raiders, when the Saints lost to the Packers on Monday Night Football in a similar style that the Pelicans lost last night where they got their ass whooped, and when the Saints lost in January to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the fans were pretty rabid. The fans were pretty passionate. The fans were pretty intense. That team we knew was over. The season was over by November. I didn't see any malcontentness from Saints fans in December when we were still losing games, even though we knew our playoff hopes were done. Yet the Pelicans, y'all hit the ziggy. Not that I told y'all, but y'all hit the shrug. Yeah, it's the Pelicans, you know. The Pelicans lost by 46 points, y'all. NBA teams should not be losing by 46 points. One of the greatest gifts in my life was being a ball boy for the Pelicans for 13 years. I probably undersell it when it comes to the platform I have now. Me, John O'Barnes, a diehard sports fan, a diehard NBA fan, a diehard Hornets/Pelicans fan, got to be in the NBA locker room. I got to rub elbows with the NBA greats. Any NBA legend you can think of before 2020, I probably have met and got to take a photo with, have a conversation with. Hell, I got to party with some NBA players. One of the greatest gifts in my life that I am forever grateful for. And yet I always say, damn, man, I wish that the Pelicans could just go on a sustained run of greatness. Ain't even got to win the NBA Finals. I'll take it. Ain't even got to win the NBA Finals. Just go on a consistent run for like 3 or 4 or 5 years, like the Saints in 2017 to 2020, without the heartbreak. Go on a 4-year run where you make the playoffs every year, where you are a contender. Because one thing about New Orleans, they're going to show out for a winner. When the Pelicans have those once in a blue moon seasons where we are a threat in the Western Conference and we're a fun playoff team, the city shows the hell out. The problem is we can never keep the city's attention of the general audience. Not the diehards like me. I'm a diehard. I'm going to watch the Pelicans rain, shine, win or lose. I'm talking about the general audience who like basketball, but they don't love basketball. We can never sustain their attention because we have not made the playoffs in 2 consecutive seasons since 2007 and 2008. My first year as a ball boy. We have not made the playoffs in 2 consecutive years for that long. That's damn near 2 decades. And yet, if I were to go down Frenchman Street and ask 10 people, how do you feel about David Griffin? 3, maybe 4 would even know who the hell David Griffin is. Let me ask those same 10 people, how do you feel about Mickey Loomis? And all 10 will have some hot takes about Mickey Loomis. Yet the Pelicans, with a treasure trove of assets, with Zion Williamson, and we can get to him in another topic, with all these talented players, we are going on 7 years now under this David Griffin era, the Zion Williamson era, and we have 2 playoff wins to show for it. Not playoff series wins, y'all. 2 playoff game wins to show for it. That same team lost by 46 points last night, and the general reaction that I saw on social media was, man, let the Saints lose by 46 points, y'all. Let Derek Carr have a 2-touchdown, 1-interception game, and the season is already over, and we gonna see the Saints fans are like, man, I hate it. I want the city to love the Pelicans as much as the Saints. I really do. I want the city so bad. I love the NBA. I am so grateful that we're kind of lucky, y'all. Let's be honest. New Orleans is kind of lucky to have 2 major pro sports franchises. Given out, if you know how New Orleans economy and all that is. We are damn lucky to have an NBA team in New Orleans. I wish that the Pelicans were as beloved as the Saints. But then I look at nights last night where the team lost by 46 points. And the reaction, general consensus, besides me, the diehards like me who's screaming into the void is, and I'm like, well, damn, maybe the franchise is probably happy that the city doesn't care about the team as much as they care about the Saints. Because I guarantee you, I don't give a damn if the Saints were 0-14 going into a game. If they lost by 46 points, it would not be malcontent. It would not be, John, well, the reason why we're not as passionate is because we knew the season was over. Hell with that. Hell with that. Let's call it a spade a spade. We all know it may not even be a pink elephant in the room at this point. We all know that the city loves and is passionate about the Saints much more than New Orleans. It makes sense. The Pelicans may never, ever get to the Saints level. I understand it. The Saints are an institution in New Orleans and in Louisiana and in the South. I get that. I just hope they can reach a close level that the city cares enough about them, because as a rabid Pelicans fan myself, never mind former employee, as a rabid Pelicans fan myself, I wonder, well, shit, am I ever going to have hope that this franchise is going to feel pressure to turn this goddamn mediocre franchise around when it seems like the city doesn't give a damn? I'm screaming into the void. Yo, the Pelicans lost by 46 points. All right, it's okay, John. You know, it's the Pelicans. Sometimes I get people saying, John, you've been too hard on the Pelicans this year. You've been too hard on Zion Williamson. And I'm like, what? Y'all applaud me when I'm on the Saints ads, but then I'm too hard on the Pelicans. Is this a make-a-wish franchise that we are like, hey, we're just happy that they're here? I'm happy that they're here too, but goddamn, I want to demand excellence from them the same way I want to demand excellence from the Saints. And yet, of all of my viewers watching right now, shout out to over 100 people watching, I guarantee you, y'all hear me right with the Pelicans. It's the first time since last night that y'all even heard that they lost by 46 points. But good for the franchise, front office executives. I mean, they like, shit, let Mickey Loomis and the Saints take all the heat. We just lost by 46 points, and the general reaction in New Orleans was in. I don't even think the news covered it this morning. They covered it last night. Of course, they got to recap sports. They probably didn't even cover it this morning. The Saints lose by 46 points. It's a topic of the night of the game. It's a topic of the morning after the game, the evening after the game, and the night after the game as well. The Pelicans lose by 46 points. Yep, y'all, the Pelicans lost. On to baseball, opening night. We ain't even got a team in New Orleans. I'm going to forever be this shit more than a game. It's not a gimmick. Just like it is for the Saints, I'm passionate about the Pelicans. I want them to be great. But sometimes I feel like I'm screaming into a void when it comes to demanding excellence from the fans for the Pelicans. Granted, we're just fans. I get it. I'm just a guy screaming into the camera. I said it with the Saints season tickets, bringing their tickets up, which, by the way, I heard that the Pelicans have also increased season ticket prices for some season ticket holders. You got to be kidding me. I don't know what bubble they live in on airline, but I respect their gangster. Because the way these two franchises have been the past 2 seasons, the fact that they have the gall to raise anybody's season tickets, that's some mafia gangster shit that I can't help but respect. Because Lord knows they're about to get my money on airline drive for the Saints season tickets. But I can scream into the void all I want. But if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, if John O'Barnes screams into the void about the fans needing to demand excellence from the Pelicans, but it's not making a goddamn sound, am I really making any noise? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the John O'Barnes Show, where they share more than a stream.
This shit more than a game. We ain't playing no field. We fans born kinda wild, fire in our hearts revealed. Yeah, we shout and we cheer, our passion loud and clear. Together we rise, this love no compromise. sidelines we scream, living in this fan's dream. Yeah, we shout and we cheer, our passion loud and clear. Together we rise, this love no compromise.
This shit more than a game.
And y'all know how we got to start off each and every show. Please, if you don't mind, leave this shit more than a game in the chat right now, because we got a lot more to talk about when it comes to our New Orleans Pelicans. But of course, we also have a lot, as we always do, to talk about those damn New Orleans Saints. And there's a lot of noise coming out of the Saints camp as the draft gets closer and closer. One thing that is making a lot of noise is about the Saints possibly drafting a quarterback. We've alluded to the topic a bit in the past few weeks on the show, but it seems like there might be some smoke. And when there's smoke, there's obviously a fire. Could the New Orleans Saints actually draft a quarterback? We've been spending all of the past few weeks on our emotional high about Derek Carr returning to the team and what is the future of this team, and we're never going to get out of this mediocrity veil with Derek Carr at quarterback. Could the Saints be playing the long game a bit, and are they actually interested in drafting a quarterback? And if they are interested in drafting a quarterback, just what quarterback are the New Orleans Saints going to draft? It might seem unreasonable, but this is the New Orleans Saints, where things are never reasonable in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'm going to ask you guys as we have this conversation, and we're going to talk about it. Should the Saints draft a quarterback? And how should the New Orleans Saints go about drafting a quarterback if we do draft a quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft? We all know what the big three of the NFL quarterbacks are in the draft this year. You have Shedeur Sanders, you have Cam Ward, and you have every year there's always like a name that comes out of nowhere when it comes to quarterbacks in the draft, because there's such a valuable position that you see some intangibles or some physical traits in the guy. And you're like, hey, that guy may not have been a superstar in college, but he has some traits that could probably transfer over to the NFL. So you got to keep your name out. You got to keep your eyes out for him. And that's one Jaxson Dart right down the street at Ole Miss. The big three of quarterbacks in the NFL draft this year. Could the New Orleans Saints actually be in line to draft a quarterback this year? Well, it doesn't help that any and every bit of appetizer that we get when it comes to a quarterback in the draft having interest or having some type of smoke behind their name when it comes to the Saints. We're going to take that and we're going to run with it. Starting with Cam Ward, who was interviewed at his combine this past week. I believe it was his combine. Forgive me if it wasn't. Well, Sharif Isaac of WDSU asked him, because the New Orleans Saints have actually met with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. So Sharif Isaac of WDSU asked, well, Cam Ward, how would you feel about being a New Orleans Saint? And his answer definitely set the New Orleans streets on fire. Here's what Cam Ward had to say about possibly being drafted by the New Orleans Saints.
It's a great meeting, especially, if you get a chance to go play with a Super Bowl coach like Coach Moore. He knows how to dial up the playbook. But I just think the biggest thing that I took away from that meeting is that you just got to be prepared at all times, whether you go in as a starter or you go in as a backup. You never know when your number is going to be called. But it was a great meeting with them. The Saints, they were one of my favorite teams growing up when I was little. I love watching Drew Brees and Colston out there. So, it'll be a dream of mine to play for them if I get a chance someday. But that's not really my main focus right now.
I know fans love that. If you aren't like into the weeds when it comes to the draft, Cam Ward is likely going to be the number 1 overall pick. He is going to fall no further than number 3. He is the top quarterback prospect in the NFL draft this year. To hear him say, man, I would love to come to New Orleans. And then just get the standard, oh, yeah, I watched the Saints as a kid. And, of course, everybody's going to say Drew Brees, right? He's saying Marcus Colston. That's when you know that, he was watching Saints football. The great legendary, this shit more than a game, Marcus Colston. One of the most underappreciated, undervalued wide receivers in NFL history. If you are saying Marcus Colston's name, you have been watching the New Orleans Saints. And so for the number 1 overall pick draft prospect to say, hey, I will actually be very, very, very open, and it would be a dream He literally said a dream to come to New Orleans. Oh, it got Saints fans excited. We had the number 9 pick in the draft. A lot of Saints fans were saying, well, shit, how much would it take for us to move up so that we can get Cam Ward? And then it becomes a discussion of, should the Saints actually move up future assets, which is one thing that I've been saying that we should not do. But should the Saints actually move up all of these assets in the future to move up into the 2025 draft to find a way to get Cam Ward, who literally just said it would be a dream to come to New Orleans? I wish Ziggy was on the show because I'm sure he would be running 8 miles per second saying, you see, that's why I love the NFL. Unlike the NBA, players want to come to New Orleans. They don't care about market size. They don't care about, I got to be in New York. I got to be in LA. I got to be in Miami. Cam Ward, who has all of the world in his hands right now, is the top prospect in NFL draft, saying, hell yeah, I want to come to New Orleans. So he's already more beloved than Derek Carr. he's probably never going to bet on black and gold colors. He's already more beloved than Derek Carr. And a lot of fans are saying now, in typical fan hoopla, well, shit, let's try to find a way to get Cam Ward, even though we all know it would take a lot. It would take a lot to get up to draft Cam Ward, who it might not take a lot to get up for, surprisingly, given all of the pre-draft hype he had coming into his college season, is one Shedeur Sanders. And there's probably a multitude of reasons of why Shedeur Sanders' stock might be dropping as the draft gets closer. We all know that he's polarizing just because he's Deion Sanders' son. And we all know that Deion Sanders, even though he's going to be coaching Colorado, is not far behind when it comes to his sons in the NFL. Not that is a bad thing, but of course, some people might think of it as a bad thing. It just depends on your spectrum of how you view that type of thing. But Shedeur Sanders, some mock drafts and some draft analysts have him falling to the New Orleans Saints if crazier things have happened or can happen. And then you ask yourself, well, would Shedeur Sanders actually want to come to New Orleans? Well, like I say, where there's smoke, there's always a little bit of a fire. See, Shedeur Sanders actually chopped it up where recently re-signed New Orleans Saint Juwan Johnson during the Super Bowl. And Juwan Johnson said, you better get your arm ready, all right? Of course, Saints fans took that and ran with it, as fans always do. Now, he could have just been saying that in general, like, hey, man, you about to be a top pick. Get your arm ready. But because he's a New Orleans Saint, everybody was like, well, shoot, does that mean that Juwan Johnson and players are trying to advocate that they want Shedeur Sanders as the next quarterback of the New Orleans Saints? Also, at the NFL Combine week, Shedeur Sanders was spotted. This is a few weeks ago, so this isn't recent, but still. He was spotted wearing a backpack with hats of the Browns, the Vikings, and the Saints, where we all know the Vikings are in play to get a quarterback with their draft position. But the Browns and Saints are, and you guys can see that Saints hat right there. It does show. And I know Shedeur Sanders, being with who his father is, knows how to play the game, knows how marketing and all that works. But he is making a loud statement by having a Saints hat on his backpack. And he might come on and say, nah, I just put a hat of all the teams that I talked to. It's nothing more than a keepsake for me. But still, he knows how fans are. This is 2025. This isn't 1985. NFL players know how fans are going to react to things like that. So Shedeur Sanders seems to be showing some openness, maybe not as explicit as what Cam Ward said, but some openness about keeping his black and gold colors and going from Colorado to Louisiana. Former Saint and backup quarterback Hall of Famer Chase Daniel had this to say when it comes to the possibility of Shedeur Sanders being a New Orleans Saint.
Who needs a quarterback? Titans, Browns, Giants, Raiders, Jets, Saints. If you really look at all those franchises, bro, all of them are not great right now. So, like, any situation you go to, now I do agree, if you go to the Saints and you sit behind Carr for a year and you run, if Kellen Moore is the head coach, I think that's the best situation for Shedeur. Like, to not rush him on the, not that they say he can't have success, right? But I don't know if any of those top 6, 7 picks are great situations for Shedeur. Because when you get drafted, I agree with wholeheartedly what Shay said. All it takes is one GM to like you and one team to fall in love with you. All 31 others in the first round could hate you. But if they really feel a certain way about you, they will draft you regardless of what Deion says. And they'll probably work with Deion because Deion has earned that right. But I'm just saying, if you look at the top 10 picks, it's just the Saints, for me, make a ton of sense.
And I think a lot of fans would agree that Shedeur Sanders to the Saints makes a lot of sense. Now, again, this is Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. The odds are that both of them are going to be drafted within the top 3, minimum top 5 picks, right? For the Saints to get one of those quarterbacks, they either got to move up a lot of assets in the future to get to the present, or they just got to hope that Things fall their way. We've seen crazy players drop. I mean, Aaron Rodgers fell all the way to the late 20s with the Green Bay Packers, and he had a ton of hype coming out of college, right? We've seen crazier things happen. We have seen crazier things happen. So, are the Saints actually in play for Shedeur Sanders? Oh, but let's not forget the third guy of the big three. One, Jaxson Dart, who does not have as much hoopla or maybe as much fanfare as Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, but he is a guy who was rising on a lot of draft analysts' mock drafts. There are some draft analysts who are saying that Jaxson Dart is actually better than Shedeur Sanders. I haven't seen it, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, right? And these guys are the quote-unquote experts. There are some draft analysts saying that Jaxson Dart is actually a better quarterback prospect in the NFL than Shedeur Sanders. And that was actually a legendary draft analyst, the legendary draft analyst. If you put a Mount Rushmore of draft analysts, he's not even on the Mount Rushmore. He's watching over the Mount Rushmore of draft analysts. That's how much of a legend he is when it comes to the draft. And that is one Mel Kiper. He dropped a bombshell of a mock draft that had the Saints Twitter streets going crazy this morning when he had one Jaxson Dart going at number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. ESPN even did a whole damn segment on it saying, Mel Kiper, do you really think the New Orleans Saints are going to draft Jaxson Dart with the 9th overall pick? Here is what Mel Kiper, NFL draft legend, had to say about Jaxson Dart going to the New Orleans Saints.
You have Jaxson Dart making his first appearance in your mock top 10. You have him 9 to the Saints. Give me the thinking.
Well, first of all, last year in mock 3.0, I had Bo Nix going to a team that he ended up taking in the Denver Broncos. I got talked out of that in mock 4.0. Nobody's talking me out of this one, Greeny. Jaxson Dart locked into the Saints at 9 for me right now. Think about, hey, he went west with USC to the SEC, right? Bo Nix went SEC out west to Oregon. I think when you look at Jaxson Dart, the improvement, completion percentage up every year, okay? Interceptions down, and he maintained that at 5.6. Completion percentage up every year. Touchdowns up every year. Jaxson Dart with his legs, 1,500 rushing yards the last 3 years, okay? 8 rushing touchdowns 2 years ago. That's the underrated part of Jaxson Dart's game. This is an NFC now, adding Jaden and Caleb, Michael Penix Jr., the division with Penix Jr., and 2 number 1s overall, Baker and Bryce Young. And now you get Jaxson Dart. You got to keep up with the division, Greeny. The Saints, you get new coach, new quarterback coming in together.
Wow. So that's at least from the national media perspective, 3 quarterbacks, the top 3, the big 3 of the NFL quarterback prospects in the 2025 NFL draft being somehow, some way linked to the New Orleans Saints. And then it goes back to now my question. How do you guys as Saints fans feel? National media is one thing, but how do you guys as Saints fans feel about the possibility of the Saints drafting a quarterback at number 9? I already know in general terms you guys will be excited because y'all want anybody but Derek Carr at this point. I absolutely get that. That does not need to be stated. This is the This Shit More Than a Game show. We ain't got to state the obvious on this show, but we want to come with some heat when it comes to the takes. So I ask you guys, how do you feel about the Saints drafting a quarterback? Who of the big 3 would you want the New Orleans Saints to take? And you got to be very elaborate with your answers because, of course, I think all of us would probably feel like Cam Ward is the consensus top prospect of all the quarterbacks, right? But we all know he's not falling to number 9. For the Saints to get Cam Ward, we got to move heaven on earth. I am not a proponent of the 2025 Saints giving away future assets to pay Paul now, to pay Peter, to rob Peter to pay Paul, whatever it is. I don't want that for the New Orleans Saints. We got too many holes to fill. However, if there was one position that I would excuse Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore to move future assets to pay a premium price to move up in the draft, it would be for the quarterback position. It is the only position I am willing to mortgage a bit of the future for because we all know how valuable the quarterback is in the NFL. You see what a Jaden Daniels did in Washington, had that franchise in 1 year, go from rock bottom to stone cold high. Pun intended. We know what the value of a great quarterback can be. The Chiefs had a pretty good quarterback in Alex Smith. They drafted Patrick Mahomes, and now they're a dynasty. We know what the value of a quarterback could be. And hell, we all know that the Saints were very interested in Patrick Mahomes in the 2017 NFL draft. The Chiefs moved up one pick before us to get him. It's one of the biggest what-if stories in NFL history. What if the Chiefs did not move up and the Saints would have had Patrick Mahomes waiting for them at number 10, and we all knew Sean Payton loved Patrick Mahomes' game. How different would the New Orleans Saints history be right now had we taken Patrick Mahomes? Because there's a whole lot of ways that could have went, because Drew Brees wasn't ready to retire right away. So do you cut Drew Brees and let Drew Brees go to another team because you're like, well, damn, Drew, we got Patrick Mahomes on the bench? Saints fans would have probably rioted, but then we would have saw what Patrick Mahomes wasn't. We would have been like, well, damn, Drew, sorry, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Well, Drew Brees had retired early and said, yeah, I don't want to play for any other team. I understand y'all feel like the future is now, and we never get that 2018, 2019, 2020 Drew Brees season. Would the Saints have kept all of the collateral in place like the Chiefs did and gone on a similar dynasty like the Chiefs have gone on with Patrick Mahomes? Either way, you look back on it, and if Sean Payton would have moved up in the draft and said, I don't trust us at the number 10 spot, I got to get Mahomes as he's my guy now, on the day of the draft, we all probably would have been ready to riot. But as history went along, we probably would have been like, oh, damn, that was one of the smartest moves we ever did. So I ask you guys, if you feel that strong about Cam Ward, would you be willing to mortgage some of the future to move up to the draft to take him? And mind you, it would take a lot. It would take a lot to move up to get Cam Ward this year. Would you be willing to do that? Or would you rather say, nope, I want to stay at number 9. There's going to be future quarterbacks in the draft coming up. We're probably not going to be that special this year. Knock on wood, we are. I'm always going to chill for the playoffs. And we can get our quarterback at the future in the future. Y'all know how I feel. I keep saying it's poetic that I think Arch Manning is going to be our quarterback. Last time we drafted a quarterback in round 1, it was Archie Manning. It would be like the most poetic story of all time. And we already feel like the NFL is scripted, right? It would be the most poetic story in NFL history to watch Arch Manning be the next quarterback drafted number 1 in the first round for the New Orleans Saints since Archie Manning. That would be some damn incredible. Hollywood couldn't make that type of stuff up story. But you can't bank on that because there's just so much uncertainty. You can't, even if you try to openly tank for Arch Manning, you just never know what other teams are going to be worse than you or what can happen. You damn sure can't go in the locker room and tell the players, hey, y'all, this is Archie Manning kid at Texas. We're going to probably be shitty for a year or two, so don't give it y'all best effort because we really want this kid in 2026 or 2027. You can't bank on it. If it happens, great. Again, it's poetic, right? It's the guys coming together, the football guys, to make it happen, but you can't, strategize for it. So when you have a quarterback that you love in the draft, and if you have one this year, you might as well take him because you can't play the what-if game or the we'll wait for the future. If you have one that you love, but you better love him. You better not be like, we need a quarterback, so let's just take one now while we're in the top 10. No, you better love this guy. You better feel like this guy is going to be an all-pro, whether it's Shedeur, whether it's Cam, whether it's Jaxson Dart. If the Saints make any type of move for this quarterback in the draft, they better believe with all their hearts and minds that he is going to be a future all-pro. I don't want no goddamn Ian Book or Spencer Rattler type thing where you can take a flyer on him later in the draft because you're like, it's a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. Like, we can take a flyer on the quarterback then. If he works out, it works out. No, when you take a quarterback in the top 10, you at damn well have all of your hope, belief, and trust that he is going to be an all-pro for decades. So I want to know how you guys feel. Do you want Shedeur? Do you want Cam Ward? Do you want Jaxson Dart? And what would it take for you guys to get those quarterbacks? Like, if you want Cam Ward, then what are you willing to give up for him? If you want Shedeur Sanders, are you going to be patient and say, hey, we're going to cross our fingers and hope he falls to number 9? Or are you going to say, we might have to move up to the 5th or 6th pick to get him? Or are you willing, because I'm pretty sure Jaxson Dart is going to fall to 9, are you willing to take a chance? As a fan, I'm not asking you as a draft analyst. We don't get paid to be draft analysts. We're just fans. Do you have enough faith? Like, Mike Kuiper apparently has faith in Jaxson Dart to take him with the number 9 overall pick, even though nobody was talking about Jaxson Dart all kind of season as being a top 10 pick. How do you guys feel? I am a one-man show tonight, so I'm going to go through the comments as best that I can to see how do you guys feel about the New Orleans Saints drafting a quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft. My guy, St. John Butler, who make sure y'all check out his YouTube channel tomorrow as he has some of the Saints content creators on social media reveal the top 10 2024 New Orleans Saints, including our co-host, Ziggy the Beast. St. John, I appreciate that you included Ziggy in that. That's pretty damn awesome. He says, March for Arch. I am of that same opinion, but again, you can't strategize a tank job in the NFL. You can't say, we know we're going to find a way to get a quarterback in 2027 because you just don't know what the landscape of the NFL is going to be at that time. Dennis Williams says, you think they benching a $69 million quarterback, my guy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even if we get Cam Ward, even if we pulled off this crazy move, and we've done it before, y'all. I mean, imagine if social media was out in 1999 when the Saints gave up their whole damn draft to get Ricky Williams, okay? So let's not act like it's some crazy idea that the Saints might actually move up in the draft, okay? This franchise has shown you who they are multiple times. But no, even if we drafted Cam Ward, I don't think that means that we're going to bench Derek Carr. I think that it means that whoever we draft was probably going to sit a year. Patrick Mahomes sat a year. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think Derek Carr, of all people, Derek Carr. I mean, I take it easy on Derek Carr, but even I'm like, man, like, of all people, Derek Carr ain't going to be somebody that this team is like, well, we can't draft him because we got Derek Carr. If they feel like they are in level with a quarterback, they will take him. And even if that means you got to sit for 1 year, fans are going to bitch and fans are going to moan, and the fans are going to want that quarterback to start by week 1. It might not be a dang tell when a quarterback starts by week 12 or 13 if the season is already over. But Derek Carr being our quarterback has absolutely no indication whatsoever on if we draft a quarterback or not. I'm actually welcoming Falcons fans' opinion tonight because Juddy Bell says, I would love for y'all to take Sanders so we can watch y'all crash and burn in prime time. You get the pun. Rise up. I mean, good old Falcons fans, right? Good old Falcons fans. Now, mind you, let's talk about the Falcons. Nobody really had them taking Michael Penix at this point last year because they just paid all that money to Kirk Cousins. That didn't stop them. And right now, and by the way, the Falcons decided to guarantee Kirk Cousins money this past week, which is hilarious how the national media lets the Falcons slide on moves like that because they got a shiny new object at quarterback who we don't even know is going to be good or not. He showed some flashes, but it ain't like he showed like he was the next Jalen Daniels or anything. But it feels like national media is in bed with the Falcons fans as well. Like how, they make these Derek Carr jokes, Falcons fans, but they're paying Kirk Cousins. I mean, we got more out of Derek Cousins than Kirk Carr, if we're being honest. I mean, Kirk Cousins, if we're being honest. So why Falcons fans are still coming in here making jokes about Carr, I don't understand. But I'm surprised that Juddy Bell, being a Falcons fan, is being a little harsh from this comment on Shedeur Sanders when Deion Sanders is a legend in Atlanta. So I would imagine, I bet you if the tables were turned and the Falcons had a shot to get Shedeur Sanders in position to draft a quarterback, if they didn't have Michael Penix, boy, the whole city of Atlanta would be like, we got to get Shedeur. We got to get Shedeur. The same way we feel about Arch Manning because of the Manning lineage in New Orleans, the Falcons fans feel the same dang way about Deion Sanders in Atlanta. So I guarantee you, if the roles were reversed and the Falcons were in position to get Shedeur Sanders, all these Falcons fans' opinion you see about Shedeur Sanders would be a complete 180 if they were actually in position to get Shedeur Sanders. Hurricane Mikey says he would love Shedeur because he is the one who is more pro-ready than the other quarterbacks. Mont Dog says, my thing is with our young offensive coach, take a shot at a quarterback. Well, Mont Dog, you might have mentioned this earlier in the chat. I apologize. I can't talking to camera and see the chat all at the same time. But what quarterback would you want, Mont Dog, if you do want us to take a shot at a quarterback? Because I always say, I agree with you, Mont. Like whenever you bring a new head coach in, usually that quarterback wants his own guy at quarterback, which is why I think a lot of fans were a bit surprised that Kellen Moore said, nah, I'm all in on Derek Carr. Now, was he all in on day one and had to be talking to it? We can debate about that all we want. But, Sean Payne came in. He said, yeah, Aaron Brooks, you're fine. But, nah, you're not my guy. My guy is Drew Brees. That worked out pretty damn well for us, right? Dennis Allen said, I want my guy to be Derek Carr. But Kellen Moore didn't pick Derek Carr. Dennis Allen did. So even though we might be married to Derek Carr for this last season, it's that inevitable divorce that we all know is coming. Sometimes you see a couple and you know that they're going to divorce, but they're trying one last time for the kids. We're going to try to work it out one last time for the kids, even though you know the outcome is going to be. That's kind of how I feel about Derek Carr. Like we all know he's not going to be our quarterback of the future, but we're just going to have to play the long game and wait for the divorce to finally hit. Unless he goes on a crazy run this year and makes the playoffs. And, again, I would cheer for it. I'm cheering for the success over everything. Let's see what more comments we have. St. John Butter says Mel Kiper is cracked out. I think a lot of fans. I think Jaxson Dart is probably the least popular of all of the top 3 prospects that could potentially be New Orleans Saints quarterbacks of the future. Philly, are you? I'm assuming you're an Eagles fan. Which congratulations on y'all winning the Super Bowl this year. And y'all owe us some goddamn. Y'all owe us some. Y'all owe us a lot because some of the reason why y'all won the Super Bowl is a lot of help because of one Mickey Loomis. He says both quarterbacks are going to ball out. The hate is real on Sanders. I agree. And that's a whole nother topic about why is Shedeur so polarizing to a lot of fans and media and analysts. I think he's a great quarterback. Every time I watch him at Colorado, he made some amazing plays. Now, I'm not And I never will pretend to be like this deep NFL analyst or scout. I take pride in just being a fan with a microphone and a camera. You know, I don't get paid to analyze and watch game film and study the X's and O's and all of the intangibles and abilities of prospects of players and all that stuff. But I go by the eye test. When I watch a game, is a quarterback standing out to me? Is a player standing out to me? Do they jump out the screen? Every time I watch Colorado, Shedeur Sanders jumped out the screen to me. So I understand that during draft season, this is where we pick and prod apart the players. I mean, even some of the legendary players. You pick and pride them apart. Yeah, you know, Reggie Bush was the most hyped up draft prospect probably of all time. And as the draft got closer, yeah, but can he run between the tackles? You know, can he do this? Can he do that? And it's like, damn, you know, from September to January, he's the hottest can't miss prospect of all time. From February to April, you're finding every little thing about him. Y'all saw the movie Draft Day. Well, if you didn't, congratulations, because it wasn't that great of a movie, but you saw a Draft Day movie. Like these scouts and these team executives and all that, they find any and everything that they can about a player, and any small hindrance of negativity that they feel is a red flag about a player, they will use that to say this is why we shouldn't draft a guy. In the movie Draft Day, the storyline was the hyped up draft prospect quarterback. The reason why the GM didn't want to draft him is because none of his teammates went to his birthday party. That was the movie storyline. And the GM's reasoning was, God damn, if you're the quarterback of a team and you have a birthday party and none of your teammates show up, that shows me you're not a leader. Even though in the movie, like this prospect was like the best quarterback in college in years and years and years. But the GM was like, yeah, but look at all this. It's silly, but that's what draft scouts and team executives do. They pick and prod apart each and every single player. And Shedeur Sanders already has that Deion Sanders cloud over his head. So I'm not surprised that he's become such a polarizing prospect to a lot of fans and draft analysts and media, but not to John Barnes. Like, if he comes to the Saints, I will welcome him with open arms. I will welcome the primetime show. I know he does his little, you know, I love shit like that. I'm a wrestling fan. I do my own type of, you know, taunt and catchphrase and all that. I love shit like that. He may not be everybody's style, but like I say, sometimes you ain't everybody's cup of tea, but eventually everybody got to drink up. So I'm not opposed to Shedeur Sanders in any way because of what he brings off the field. I know what I know from what I've seen of him on the field, and he's a baller. So I would definitely take Shedeur Sanders and everything, and I say that loosely, everything that comes with him. Dalton Smith says Jaxson Dart will go late first round or early second round. Yes, unless Mickey Loomis or Jeff Island really fall in love with him, the way Mel Kiper seems to think that we are. And like he said, it only takes one GM. I believe Chase Daniel said that. It only takes one GM. It only takes one team to fall in love with a player. And a guy who you think would be a second or third round pick becomes a first round pick. I don't want to hurt you guys, but look at Peyton Turner. Nobody had Peyton Turner as a first round pick. For whatever reason, Sean Payton fell in love with him. He became a first round pick with the New Orleans Saints. It only takes one GM, especially for a quarterback, to fall in love. And that third round grade, that fourth round grade can become a first round grade. Jaden says, John O'Barnes, thanks for using my whole name. I want Shedeur Sanders as the next Saints quarterback. And F the Falcons and the Falcons fans, and this shirt, I don't know if you meant to say shit or he just doesn't want to curse, but this shirt is more than a game. I appreciate you, Jaden. Tip asks, Jono, and I appreciate everybody who actually watches on Twitter, by the way. Shout out to, by the way, over 265 people watching across all platforms. If you are one of those 265 people watching on YouTube, I just have one favor. Hey, fans, hit the subscribe button in 3 seconds to make this Rams fan sad. 3, 2, 1. All right, Tip. You asked, what does Jono know about Justin? But I'm this shit more than a game certified. I know everybody on the Saints, so I know he was our lone snapper years ago. But are you related to Justin Drescher? You know, I know he was a lone snapper. Are you Justin Drescher? If you are, what's up? Thanks for all the years of service as a long snapper to the New Orleans Saints, the most undervalued position in the NFL. We only know about the long snapper when they botch a snap for a field goal or something, right? So the fact that I'm pretty sure 98% of people don't know who Justin Drescher is probably a good thing. That means he did his job as a long snapper very, very well. That's such a random question. Is that Justin Drescher dad or something? What kind of question is that? Teddy asked for Wagner season says, do not bring the Evan Barnes energy around here. Evan hasn't been on the show, y'all, since December, so I don't know why y'all still even mention him. He hasn't been on the show since December. J-Rock says, I think Dart could go to the Steelers depending on what happens with Rodgers or Wilson. I saw Cam Hayward at the Steelers kind of get on Aaron Rodgers today in an interview and say, dude, make up your mind. Like, are you going to be our quarterback or not? I'm a little surprised that Aaron Rodgers is still the hot name given his past 2 seasons, but sometimes when you have a veteran team, all of the veteran players want to go with the name or the devil that they know rather than the devil that they don't know. So Rodgers is still a sexy enough name for teams to be like, we'll wait because we feel like there's a little bit of juice left in that Aaron Rodgers well. We'll see. Again, but J-Rock, it just depends on, J-Rock, excuse me. It just depends on if Dart, I'm getting Jaxson Dart, J-Rock. It depends on if Dart, it takes one team to fall in love with him. It could be the Saints. It could be the Saints. We will see. I love when my wife joins the show just to get some digs in at y'all know my wife only makes like special appearances. She makes cameos like Quentin Tarantino in his movie. So you got to be on the lookout for Clarissa Barnes' appearance on the John Barnes show these days. And her one rare appearance on the show is to take a shot at a Falcons fan. That's why she is my wife, and that's why she is this shit more than the game certified. Dalton says Rodgers is going to go to the Vikings. That would complete the Brett Favre arc of Brett Favre going from Packers, Jets to Vikings, the same way Aaron Rodgers is going from Packers to Jets to maybe the Vikings. I will say if Rodgers does go to the Vikings, which would confuse me because I thought they were all in on J.J. McCarthy, so it makes no sense to me. Like, even if J.J. McCarthy didn't get hurt last year, you draft a quarterback that high because by year 2, you're the guy. So why is the Vikings even in the hunt for, that's Jiggy's favorite words, why are the Vikings even in the hunt for Aaron Rodgers? I do not know because they got J.J. McCarthy. You don't draft a quarterback that high to keep getting veteran quarterbacks to be the quarterback. Like, did you love J.J. McCarthy or not? Did you love him or not? Injury be damned. He's healthy now. He's my quarterback. I took him with I think it was a top 13 pick last year. He's my quarterback now. I'll be pissed if the Saints were to draft someone like Jaxson Dart. Sit him this year, I will understand. But then next year, we say, but that's his veteran quarterback we want to get. Hell with that. Y'all just drafted Jaxson Dart with a top 10 pick. Play him. So I don't understand where this Rodgers to Vikings stuff is coming from. But I will say if he does go to the Vikings, it will make a lot of Saints fans say, well, damn, does that mean that the Rodgers is going to have the same Brett Favre story of taking the Vikings to the NFC Championship game? And maybe it'll be the Saints, once again, intercepting him in the Superdome to go to the Super Bowl. How crazy would that be, right? Which would mean Derek Carr is the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints in the Super Bowl. That would be pretty funny. The Saints Pals Chop It Up podcast says, Cam Ward will be a nice pick, but I'm still running with Ted McMillan at number 9. We need weapons ASAP. That also carries over to what Praise YJ says, where he says, would we still be cool with Ashton Genty at 9? I've already made my opinion known about drafting a running back right now. No, I'm not. Let me take that back. I'm not going to not be cool with Ashton Genty. He's a special player. Of a lot of running back prospects, he is definitely worthy of a top 10 pick. I just don't know if he's worthy of the New Orleans Saints top 10 pick because we have so many needs. And I don't know if we are a running back away from being a great team, right? The Falcons took Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is a special player, a great player, a potential offensive player of the year. I would give Bijan Robinson credit and all of the flowers. He scares me as a Saints fan. He absolutely scares me as a Saints fan. He scares me more than what like a Mike Evans scares me. Like Bijan Robinson scares me. He is a game changer. But right now, he has 2 years of wear and tear on his body, and we all know running backs, they age like dog years in the NFL. So you probably get a 7 to 9 year window where you better get the most out of your running back, and you better be in contention because after that 7 to 8 year, he might be gone. What we have in Alvin Kamara right now is actually pretty rare. But the Saints right now are not, in my opinion, I hope I'm wrong, going to be a playoff team in the next year or so. So why would we draft a running back to get the wear and tear on his body if we're not going to be in contention? If the Saints were like our window was even slightly open to be a playoff team / Super Bowl contender, hell yeah, I'd take Ashton Genty. He could be the X factor to us getting over that hump. But we are so far behind, and the folks on airline don't agree with that, but we are so far behind when it comes to drafting to being a contender that I'm not sold on a running back at the number 9 pick. I could get someone like Cam Scatterwood, who I really love, in the 3rd or 4th round. I could get a running back in the 5th or 6th round and see what happens. I just don't know. If he is the guy, I know he went to Boise State like Kellen Moore, so maybe he is poetic with that. I will welcome him with open arms. He's going to be an exciting player. He's going to have a very popular jersey. I just think that there are other prospects like a Ted McMillan, like a Tyler Warren at tight end to take over a running back. That's just me, though. If our window was open and we were in contention, hell yeah, take that star running back. But then again, I mean, we were shitty in 2005, and I was all in on Reggie Bush, so maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite. Maybe I am a bit of a hypocrite. Ziggy says, in the top 10, you draft the best available player. I'm not mad at that, Ziggy. You're right. If Ashton Genty is the best player in the top 10, you draft him. If Shedeur Sanders is there somehow at number 9, and he's the best player available, I would not be mad at that. Anything can't be worse than I feel like we're not at least. Well, here's one thing, y'all. Let's be glass half full no matter what we do, because I know no matter who we take, it's going to be some different opinions. But one thing we can be grateful for is that this is not going to be like, them old Sean Payton drafts where we reach on. I would hope not. Where we reach on a guy like Marcus Davenport, who is now a member of the Lions, like I said earlier, like a Peyton Turner, who's a member of the Dallas Cowboys.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in the Cowboys. I believe in the Cowboys. Cause they love them in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say, I believe in the Cowboys. I believe in the Cowboys.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my. What? Is that a ghost? How? Wait, hold on. Dude, I haven't seen you since December. I'm surprised you're still alive.
Wait, am I on the wrong show?
You might be. You got like a headset now. You like a Twitch gamer now? What are you doing?
Oh shoot! I thought we were talking about a good team. This is the Saints. Oh, my fault. Wrong one.
Oh, are you trying to go on the Philadelphia Eagles show? What you talking about? A good team?
I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys, baby.
Wait. Now look. I know you haven't been on the show since December. Right? A lot has happened since then. We had a whole damn Christmas holiday, a New Year's, a Valentine's, Mardi Gras, the Super Bowl in New Orleans. We've had a lot happen.
And I'm surprised you still talking about the Saints. Did you see what y'all did? Boy. What's up, Jono? Man, it's been a while.
Yeah, I was hoping like a new year. First of all, how do you?
And I was hoping for a new contract to be on the show, and I'm still waiting on that.
I thought I had like a new link that I made for the show for you not to be on the show. What the hell? You see, the chat is very excited for you to be on the show.
Hey, what's up? Y'all still watching him, huh? Man, it must be lonely to be a Saints fan, boy. Ooh.
Hey, hold on.
It must be lonely, boy. As soon as y'all said, man, we're gonna keep Derek Carr. I'm like, ooh. Boy, that hurt me too.
All right, hold on. I know you ain't talking because first of all, your Cowboys was on the couch with us. So I know you haven't been on the show since December, so you wasn't here to take your lickings like a man.
Which is true. Was on the couch with y'all, but the free agency moves that we've been making. Oh, we ain't gonna be on the couch. We ain't gonna be on the couch with y'all in the playoffs.
Evan, y'all biggest move was signing Peyton Turner. Look at the picture. Peyton Turner doesn't even look happy to be a Cowboy. Y'all biggest move.
He don't look happy because look at the jersey he got on. That's why.
Oh my God.
But honestly, I think the Peyton Turner pickup was a huge thing for the Cowboys.
Wait, no.
Hold on. Give me a second. You have to look at the coaching, and I don't think Dennis Allen was able to utilize Peyton Turner how you're supposed to. And I think Dennis Allen actually set up Peyton Turner for failure. And I think with him coming to the Cowboys, with also Fowler that we picked up as well, switching both of those on the other side of Michael Parsons, man, we're going to have a top 5 pass rush this season. Calling it right now.
Evan.
Calling it right now.
For the past 2 years, you say Peyton Turner was one of the
because
biggest
Dennis Allen's not using him how you're supposed to use him.
Oh, my God.
I mean, look, Peyton Turner was probably getting double teamed because that old guy on the other side, what's his name? Cam Jordan? He's still playing?
Yeah,
like
he actually
38
just
now.
signed with the Saints. Yep.
Oh yeah, look, the Saints love signing old people. Look, y'all still got Tyrann Mathieu. Hey, I saw Tyrann Mathieu at the Zulu Ball. I said, "What's up to him?"
What he said?
He was like, "Man, Saints stupid. They resigned me."
Yeah, Evan. Wow. I'm sorry, y'all. I did not know Evan still had the link to come on his show. I thought even if he were to ever come back on the show, it would have been a new year, new him. I thought maybe the reason why he wasn't on the show since December was he got some humble pie. And he was like, damn, maybe I
Hey,
need to
no, but hey, I'm not a Saints hater. Y'all did a hell of a job picking up a new head coach. I'll give you that.
Kellen Moore, the guy that you was hyping up some years ago as the next big thing is a head coach.
I said he is a hell of a coordinator, but he's not a coach. Just as Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen's not a head coach. He's a hell of a coordinator.
You were saying when Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, how that
He's a hell of a coordinator. I admit that. I said he is a hell of a coordinator. But a head coach, that's stretching it. He's not ready yet.
Jaxson Dart
As he went to the Chargers, what he did as a coordinator did absolutely nothing. Nothing. And he was just blessed to go to an Eagles that already had a foundation for him. Only thing he needed to do is be like, hey, Hurts, hand the ball to Barkley. Any coach could do that. Shit. If Dennis Allen went to the Eagles, he would still be a head coach for them right now.
You have some gall to come on the show hyping up your Cowboys when one of y'all more prominent players of the past decade literally went on his press conference last week when he signed with a brand new team, the Seattle Seahawks, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Who?
And he said,
who?
DeMarcus Lawrence, the guy that you was typing up 2 years ago, typing up last year, DeMarcus Lawrence against the Saints O-line, he's going to cross havoc. And he said, I wish I knew you was coming on the show. I should have had the clip ready. That's my fault. I wish I knew you was coming on the show. He said in his press conference, I'm glad I'm going to Seattle because let's be realistic. I was never going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas.
And guess what? He going to be on the couch.
Between him and Micah Parsons, where Micah Parsons called out DeMarcus Lawrence, and DeMarcus Lawrence went on Twitter and said, Micah Parsons, you ain't it. You ain't that guy. The Cowboys ain't that franchise. Your whole team is being seen front and center like your goddamn zoo exotic animal for the laughing stock that you guys are. As bad as the New Orleans Saints are, Evan, we don't have former players going to press conferences and media interviews saying, yeah, that team sucks. I know I was never going to win a Super Bowl with them. Your team is doing that. Your franchise is doing that. Legendary players too, not that goddamn long snapper.
Man,
but
look,
defensive end for your team is saying we was never going to win a goddamn Super Bowl in Dallas because of how that franchise is ran. And you still come on this show and
you gotta look at the facts, John.
How bad the New Orleans Saints are.
You gotta look at the facts. Just because a guy's mad because we wasn't going to give him 30 plus million, shit, give me 30 plus million. I'll tell you, John Barnes show is the greatest show of all time. Shit, give me 30 million. I put a Saints jersey on right now too, talking about who that. Come on, realistically, the facts is the facts. The facts is the Lawrence is mad because the Cowboys did not want to give him the money that he was asking for. This guy's been past his prime for the last 2 seasons, and the record showed that. Look at how he's been playing for the last 2 years. He has not been it. So yes, he is salty because he still wants to be a Cowboy deep down. He does. He still wants to be a Dallas fan. He still wants to live in Dallas, but we was not going to give him the money. And you know what? Good luck to him in freaking Seattle with Sam Darnold as his QB. Good luck with that, buddy. Talking about he ain't going to make the playoffs with the Cowboys. You damn sure ain't going to make the playoffs with the Seattle Seahawks. I'll tell you that. You thought he was on a couch this last season? Shit. I hope he bought a new couch because he's going to be on another couch for next season.
I heard Seattle has a great deal on couches too. So.
Oh, they sure do. They sure do.
I don't even. I mean, you're on the show now, so I'm gonna try to be amicable. It's been a while. I'm sure you've seen what the Saints have done since the last time you've been on the show. We got a brand new head coach, Kellen Moore. Derek Carr is still our quarterback, and it seems like the New Orleans Saints, Evan, are going to run it back. We re-signed Cam Jordan. We restructured Tyrann Mathieu, who you saw at the Little Ball. We restructured Demario Davis.
God damn. Let them go. Y'all, please, let them go. They got some good retirement homes in New Orleans. Please let them go.
I want to ask you, because at least Sean was on the show last week as a Rams fan, and he was very unbiased and unhateful, unjilted by his thoughts on how the Saints were running their team for 2025. But I want to ask you, how do you feel about the Saints essentially running it back, even though we haven't made the playoffs in the past 4 seasons?
I think this would have been a perfect opportunity to clean slate. Let the old guys, let them go. Start fresh, because there's a lot of holes that the Saints that y'all need to fill up. And I think you was talking about drafting a QB in the first round. I don't think drafting a QB is the best of interest for y'all right now. It's not.
But you just said we should get rid of players. So do you want us to keep Derek Carr?
You already have Derek Carr. He's already on a hook. You're already paying him. Might as well let him play the season.
Well,
Y'all got other fish to fry right now.
So if Shedeur Sanders fell to the Saints, you would not take them as a Saints GM.
I believe the Saints doesn't have a good history of drafting quarterbacks. And
because we haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Archie Manning. Every time we draft
hold on. Hear me out. I think the Saints drafted 24 quarterbacks in the franchise history. The best QB that they drafted was Archie Manning, and that was 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know the second best QB that the Saints drafted?
Who's that?
Mark Bulger.
That could be true.
And guess what? Y'all drafted him in the 6th round. And you know what happened to him? Y'all cut him because he did not beat Jeff Blake for the starting QB position. That was y'all second best drafted QB in Saints history. And y'all really think y'all gonna hit a gold mine in 2025 for a QB? I pray. I know every quarterback that's in this NFL draft. I know they're on their knees right now in a church. They're on their knees. They got a rosary praying each day, looking at the Lord himself, looking at God. And they say, please, Lord Jesus Christ, please don't let me get drafted by New Orleans Saints. Because if they get drafted by New Orleans Saints, their career is going straight down the trash like the Pelicans right now.
We'll get to the Pelicans in a little bit because I actually might share your sentiment with the Pelicans. But your foot is shit like a kid on a toilet when you talk about quarterbacks and I want to be drafted by the Saints because I know how you are. You don't even watch the damn show until you come on the show. But here's what Cam Ward, the #1 draft overall prospect, had to say about actually possibly being drafted by the New Orleans Saints. Evan Barnes.
It's a great meeting, especially, if you get a chance to go play with a Super Bowl coach like Coach Moore. He knows how to dial up the playbook. But I just think the biggest thing that I took away from that meeting is that you just got to be prepared at all times, whether you go in as a starter or you go in as a backup. You never know when your number is going to be called. But it was a great meeting with them. The Saints, they were one of my favorite teams growing up when I was little. I love watching Drew Brees and Colston out there. So, it'll be a dream of mine to play for them if I get a chance someday. But that's not really my main focus right now.
Now, did you hear that? While players in press conferences are saying the Cowboys were never going to win a Super Bowl out there, the #1 draft overall prospect literally just said verbatim, you can't make this up. Where my dog Ziggy at? You can't make this up. Literally said it would be a dream to play for the New Orleans Saints. What the hell are you talking about? Some players are hoping that they don't get drafted by the Saints.
Is this the same Cam Ward that played only one half of that bowl game and just watch his team lose in that second half? Is this the same Cam Ward that was like, I reached my record, I don't need to play the rest of this bowl game, and I watch my team lose? That's the same Cam Ward, right? You want that guy to be your quarterback? You want that guy to come to New Orleans and be the new franchise QB? You want a guy to quit on his team because he was chasing records?
Quit.
You want that guy to QB? And you know what? I'm not surprised. I am not surprised because y'all had Drew Brees, who is probably one of the best QBs out there, who was out there breaking records left and right and did pretty much nothing but that one Super Bowl. I'm not surprised you want Cam Ward out there as your QB. I'm really not surprised. You know what? Y'all should have fun with Cam Ward. If y'all really want to draft that kind of QB as y'all franchise QB, have fun with that.
You say quit. Evan, the Miami Hurricanes.
Did he not quit? Did he not quit?
No,
he played one half, got his record, was like he was eating popcorn and a foot-long hot dog on the stands with ketchup and mustard.
Was it good? How much was it? How much did it cost?
Shit, like I think $7.99. I don't know.
The Superdome charges like $12 for a foot long. He got the deal there.
Hey, we got a new president. The price might go down. Anyway, which is
give me that. I remember when that happens. Anyways, because Miami Hurricanes were essentially playing for a bowl game that I'm not gonna say it didn't matter, but it damn sure wasn't a national championship. Why would he not want to protect his future? Like if he plays in the
integrity, come on, man. You have pride in what you do. That is your teammates. You ride or die with your teammates. And you talking about like, I'm going to NFL. Forget all these people. Forget the seniors who's graduating, who won't have this opportunity to play in this kind of bowl game again. Come on, bro. That's not a QB that I want. He's not a Dak Prescott. He's not.
Oh my God! Of course he mentions
He's not.
Dak Prescott. You know. Besides the bullshit, y'all, we do have a super chat. Let's hit the ghetto. This shit more than a game. Everyone. We have a super chat from a good old friend of the John O'Barn show, Ziggy the Beast. He couldn't join the show tonight, but he did want to get his opinion in, and he says, "Oh, I don't know."
Oh my God! That man wasted $5 to say that. Oh my God!
He's trying to tell you, okay? He's trying to tell all of y'all. He says the Saints will be in the hunt this upcoming season. Mark them out. I give Ziggy and I give you this. Y'all both consistent with whatever y'all believe in. Y'all are consistent with it. Ziggy, thank you very much for that super chat. Because of that, I had the goal for 5 super chats, but I just put that as a default. Because of that, later on to show y'all, I'm going to show y'all this past weekend was 316 day. And you know, if you are this shit more than the game certified, you better celebrate 316 day in your household. I've celebrated 316 day the past 5 years, the only way that you should celebrate 316 day. One that will make Stone Cold look down on me and smile. And I'm going to show you guys the past 5 years of how I have celebrated 316 day. But before we get to that, Evan, if you don't think the Saints should draft a quarterback, then I don't even know why I'm asking you this, but put on your Saints GM hat. I know that's sacrilegious to you, but put on your Saints GM hat. Who would you target with the number 9 overall pick in the draft if you were the Saints GM?
I probably actually one of my favorite people that's out there is Will Campbell from LSU, the offensive tackle?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a pickup. And I feel like with the offensive line issues that the Saints have right now, I feel like you have to attack him. You have to get him.
You know, I wouldn't be mad at that. I think a lot of casual fans for sure would not be thrilled with it because our offensive line is never a sexy pick. And we literally just drafted an offensive lineman last year. So back-to-back years with an offensive lineman, well, you know, fans are going to be like, well, damn, I can't even buy an offensive lineman's jersey.
Well, you like to give Derek Carr like 5 seconds to throw an interception. That's what you really want. give him some time to make a bad decision. Or give him some time to check it down to Kamara for 2 yards, okay? Like,
well, look, I will say at least Will Campbell is at a shoe guy, so that would have some fans excited. But I would not be mad at Will Campbell. I would not. I think I'm leaning towards a sexier position like wide receiver, a tight end. We need all of the offensive weapons that we can, especially with Kellen Moore now caught in plays. But like you and I, one thing that we do agree on, Evan, I will give you this. One thing that we're like-minded with is that we always say, if we were GMs, we would build our team through the lines first, the D line and the O line. So I am never opposed to drafting a defensive lineman or offensive lineman. You just better hit. Like, I mean, we tried to build our D line through the draft the past few years, and all that's left us with is Peyton Turner. Oh yeah, the guy you just said is going to be your savior on the defensive line.
You were supposed to say Davenport after that.
Davenport, and even if you want to include someone like Isaiah Foskey, Zach Bond should have been playing on our D line, or at least been in a position where we rushed him as a defensive lineman. Like, either way, it depends.
Like how Zach Bond balled out for the Eagles. What you think Peyton Turner's gonna do?
Oh, no, please don't tell me you're putting Zach Bond and Peyton Turner in the same.
What you think? What you think he gonna do? I'm just
at
saying.
Least Zach Bond showed flashes his contract year. Like Zach Bond, at least it wasn't like the most prominent discussion, but it was a discussion on, hey, Zach Bond kind of flashed in 2024. Should we sign him for 2023? Should we sign him for 2024? Peyton Turner in a contract year, but he's going to be the savior of y'all D-line, huh?
He's going to help.
All right. You know what, Evan? Let's, I got a question for you. Like, seriously, can you name me 3 players that y'all signed this offseason?
Well, we resigned Turpin. We picked up Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. We let go Rico. So our running game is going to be much better this season.
Miles Sanders. The Miles Sanders that didn't do shit in Carolina. That's who you hyping up. All right, go ahead.
He had a pretty decent year last season.
Okay.
Who else we got? We picked up an offensive lineman to take over for Zach Martin.
Can't forget Payne Turner, the great Payne Turner. Can't forget that signing.
Still got Payne Turner. We picked up a safety.
And you think the Cowboys?
Oh, one of the moves I didn't like. We picked up that wide receiver, Paris Campbell from the Eagles. And I'm like, oh, I ain't like that one. That remind me like a Saints pickup.
Are the Cowboys a playoff team in 2025?
If we're healthy, yes.
Who would you target for the Cowboys draft pick this year then?
Ooh, see, that's the thing, because I know we picked up Javonte Williams, and I know we picked up Miles Turner, but I really wanted that guy from Boise State. I think him.
You want Genty.
I really did. I feel like he would have put us like on the next level. So I'm not sure who they're gonna aim. I'm really not.
Do you think that y'all are in the market for a quarterback?
No.
You haven't heard some rumors and rumblings that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb don't quite get along?
That ain't the rumors, no.
Okay.
No, they ain't the rumors.
So after
we ain't about to start that right now. We ain't about to start that. That ain't no rumor.
We can start whatever we want. It's the John Barnes show, not the Evan Barnes show. After almost damn near 4-month hiatus, and you've been gone for 4 months, you come on the show to say Cowboys good, Saints bad.
Yeah.
Man, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
No matter what, we all know that this shit more than a game, and now you can wear it with pride. Visit www.jonobarnes.com or thisshitmorethanagame.com and buy your This Shit More Than a Game shirt now for the low price of $28.03. You can buy it in black and gold, purple and gold, white and blue, red and navy blue, all types of colors. We've got you covered here on the John Barnes Show. So visit www.jonobarnes.com or thisshitmorethanagame.com and buy your This Shit More Than a Game shirt now and let the world know, folks, this shit more than a game. And
Man,
wow.
Speaking of shirts, I was down in New Orleans for Mardi Gras.
Uh-huh.
And I was at the Endymion Parade. And I saw they was throwing all kinds of stuff. And this kid next to me, they threw him like a white t-shirt, and the kid, caught it and looked at it, and he was like, oh shit, it was a This Shit More Than a Game t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
The kid balled it back up and threw it right back.
One thing we all going to ball it up and throw it right back is our This Shit More Than a Thanks to Bruce Saint and the Fish. It reminds me of her. But their super chats last week, y'all know every super chat that we get, we turn right back and invest into the show. So thank you to the king of the super chats, Bruce Saint, who I don't believe has been on the show tonight. So I hope everything's going well with my dog, Bruce Saint, because Lord knows he's always on the show, rain or shine. And of course, Evan's favorite YouTube user, the Fish, reminds me of her. I wonder what Fish reminds me of her. I don't know. Evan, let's pivot a little bit. Mm-hmm. I did my opening rant on the state of the New Orleans Pelicans, who lost by 46 points. Wait, hold on. Speaking of NBA, didn't your team trade Luka-Doncic while you were away from the show for Anthony? I mean, you had a lot to say about how great Luka was. You had a lot to say about how injured Anthony Davis was. And your team, the great Dallas Mavericks, who were literally in the finals last year, traded Luka-Doncic for Anthony Davis. What's going on in Dallas, Evan?
So I'll tell you the history about that. Yeah, we made the trade. Shocked everybody. I was at a nightclub. I had bottle service. So I was a little drunk. I was probably like 6 shots in. I saw the news. I said, damn. I turned my phone back off and I continued drinking. I woke up the next day. I had a hangover and I found out the trade was actually...
That's basically every night for Evan Bones. I don't know why you got to bring that up. That's every night. Go ahead.
I just want a shot right now. Anyway, so the first game we played Houston Rockets, and I actually had tickets for the game to see the brand new look of the Mavericks. And that's when it was a full healthy team. Yep. That first half that we played, Anthony Davis had 20 plus points. And I kid you not, we were the top 3 NBA team right then and there. Fully healthy with Kyrie and Anthony Davis was the top 3 NBA team. I kid you not. The way that Dallas looked, we did not look like that with Luka this season. We did not. Okay. And if you want to talk about some rumors, there's rumblings about Luka in Dallas. Okay.
Well, explain. Yeah. Elaborate.
Well, elaborate. You know what I do for a living, and I'm not gonna say where I'm saw on that or who I was with, but I was out one night for a dinner. I saw Luka was on the other end. Killed about 3 bottles of wine himself. Had a game the next day.
That sounds like what you do every night, though.
But I ain't getting paid millions of dollars. I'm not a franchise player. So I thought it was the right move for the Dallas Mavericks. I think that in the next like 3 or 4 years, I don't think Luka's going to be the same Luka that we've been seeing in the past couple seasons.
Wow, boy, you switch up.
And I really think, honestly, the lineup that we had with Anthony Davis and Kyrie, with the role players that we had, with Christie coming off the bench too, I thought it was a good trade for us.
Boy, you switch up more than a wrestler in the 90s going from WCW to WWE. You was like the biggest Luka advocate, and now that he's not.
Look, no hard feelings with Luka. I am a huge Luka fan. I wish him nothing but the best. But I really think for the franchise, for the Mavericks, for us to, get on that championship within the next couple of years, I thought it was the right move.
All right, well, let me know if you think this is the right move.
Because when Luka turned 30 and he's gonna be playing like the Shaq when he was at the Boston Celtics, you heard it first. That was a good trade.
I find it funny that you suddenly injuries do matter, because all last season when you were on the show, you were saying that the Saints had no excuses for injuries. Sminjuries is what you were saying that they.
No, you don't have an excuse. But as of right now, Dallas Mavericks are facing we're facing the forfeit games because our whole team is hurt. The Saints never had that problem.
All right, you know what? I want you to keep that same energy when we talk about our Pelicans now, because we've had in our franchise's existence injuries. And Sonya, you're right. This man is the most wishy-washy ass person. He's more wishy-washy than a motherfucker taking a shower. Like, god damn, this dude changes his tune to anything that favors or makes Dallas look good. But Evan, the New Orleans Pelicans aren't in a much better spot because the Pelicans are the 4th worst team in the NBA currently. Year 6 into the Zion era, and we had nothing to show for it but 2 playoff wins. Whoop-de-doo. We lost by 46 points last night. And sadly, the one thing that I was like hoping, putting my hope in, like, okay, I know that his future is so damn bright, so I got some optimism for the future. Trey Murphy went down, suffered a season-ending torn labrum in his right shoulder, and is now probably going to be out. He should be back for the season in 2025, but he's probably going to have his offseason affected by him having to rehab now instead of just focusing on improving his game. Typical Pelicans, like the guy got hurt within the first minute of the actual game. It does bring up a point, though. The season is over. The season has been over since goddamn December. The Pelicans are still one of the few teams who are still in this lottery hunt, and this is a damn good draft this year. We will be going live for the NBA draft lottery next month because it is one of the better drafts in a long time. And Cooper Flagg is the star of the draft, but there's some other prospect at the number 2 or number 3 pick like Bailey or Harper that can really turn a franchise around. I'm praying that the Pelicans. Devin, you don't want to talk Pelicans?
Man, that sad ass team, not really.
I'm praying that the Pelicans get lucky, but to do that, sometimes you got to make your own luck, and it's called tanking. And a lot of NBA teams, like the Jazz, are making no bones about it. They are tanking. So much of the NBA is finding them for sitting out healthy players. The risk that you can always, or the justification you can say is, well, look what the Pelicans happened. Like now they lost Trey Murphy for the season, even though it's only 2 weeks left, but they lost him for some of the offseason too. In the game that didn't matter. Again, they lost by 46 points. So I ask you, Evan, with the Pelican season being over, should the Pelicans actively tank? Because right now the Pelicans are still playing every game as if, we are like a game out of the playoff picture, and we were playing Trey Murphy like 35, 38 minutes. And I'm saying that's the reason he got hurt, but like we were playing him as if, we were an NBA Finals contender team. Like we're playing CJ McCollum, who I don't even know why he's still on the team given his timeline without timeline. We're playing him minutes as well when we could be playing younger guys, and we're playing Zion on a minutes restriction, but we're playing Zion, and you never know what Zion's body is going to do in the game. So should the Pelicans tank, Evan, or should the Pelicans continue to go about business as normal? What would you do if you were the Pelicans GM?
Well, Pelicans is in an interesting spot because the Pelicans are playing hard and still losing.
Yes. Hold on. That's why I was also mad. Evan, your camera is really, this is a sign that you shouldn't be on the damn show. That's why I was trying, like, it's one thing to be tanking and losing by 46 points. The Pelicans are actively trying to win games. Like, they're not tanking. The Pelicans are, a lot of it is circumstance. We got a lot of players hurt. That's a news flash. The Pelicans are hurt. What season are we not hurt at this point, right? But the Pelicans are actively trying to win games. Willie Green is essentially coaching for his life. He's playing these guys as if, this is a playoff game 7. And we are still losing by 46 points. That's why I was pissed. It's one thing if you're playing Zion 5 minutes, if you're sitting Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum, you are playing these guys active minutes and you are still getting that ass whooped. But the fans are like, hey, John, we were eliminated by November. Who cares? Okay, go ahead, Evan. Evan? Hold on, y'all. This is great. This is great. Apparently, Evan did not improve his Wi-Fi during his 4 months away from the John O'Barnes show. So it's okay, y'all. I think y'all was tired in the chat from Evan anyway. But you know what? I'm gonna leave Evan right there, even though he froze. I'm gonna leave Evan right there. Here's my opinion. I'm not mad at the Pelicans for not tanking. You know, I'm not mad at them for sitting their best players. I think it's kind of hard to go into a locker room and tell the guys, hey, sorry, we're trying to get a draft pick. So, you know, while you're in the prime of your career, we're not going to play you. I do think we should have had, I mean, I don't know what the disconnect is between the front office and Woody Green, but I do think there should have been a time where the front office came to Woody Green and say, hey, you know, we're not going to tell you to sit the players, but you got to put them all, not just Zion, but all of them on a minutes restriction. Trey Murphy, we know what he can be. We know we've seen enough. He's a core member of this team. He should not be playing no goddamn 32 to 38 minutes a game, especially in games where we're getting our ass whooped. I'm not blaming him playing last night on anybody. That was a freak injury. This franchise is full of freak injuries. He got hurt literally in the first minute of the game. And you know, minutes restriction going to stop you from getting hurt in the first minute of the game. I understand all that, but I do think his minutes before that, I mean, he was getting 38 minutes per game in like games where we were losing by 10 plus points. Like, what's the benefit of that? And it seems like there's a disconnect because Woody's essentially coaching for his for his coaching life. The front office, I don't know what the hell they doing. They sitting on their goddamn hands apparently. But I mean, I guess you can afford to do that when the city of New Orleans is so focused on goddamn Mickey Loomis that we let the Pelicans skate by with this mediocrity that we've been fed the past 6 years. But after Trey Murphy went down, and now, you know, the one shining beacon of hope we have from this season is going to be out for the next 4 to 5 months. And we hope that he's able to resume basketball activities in August so he can be ready for the September start of the season. Now you got to start saying, should we sit CJ McCollum for the rest of the year? Should we sit Zion Williamson for the rest of the year? Should we? Like, I would hate for Zion to get hurt. And Lord knows he's liable to get hurt. It is what it is. I'm not trying to diss the guy, but his body is what it is. He gets hurt a lot. I would hate for Zion to get hurt in a meaningless game. And now he's out for 5 to 6 months heading into the 2025 season because, hey, we had to play Zion for pride. We're playing for pride, Pelicans fans. Man, hell with that. So I'm not mad that we haven't been actively tanking yet, but that last night should have been the smoke signal for the Pelicans. But goddamn, for at least David Griffin to go to Woody Green and say, yo, for the rest of the season, for the last 2 weeks, CJ and Zion and all of the core players, they are playing no more than 25 minutes a game. Play the young guys. Let's see what we got. I don't know what the hell this franchise's vision is. I really do not know what the hell this franchise's vision is. I know if Zion does a credible dunk, fans forgive all of the bullshit that he's given us the past 6 years and say, Zion, baby, year 7, he's going to get it together. I know sometimes if I was Derek Carr, but goddamn, I wish I had the goddamn leeway Pelicans fans give Zion that y'all don't give me. But I also know that Zion's ceiling is a lot higher than any New Orleans professional athlete right now. So I understand why we give Zion a lot of leeway. But it's going into year 7. And here I am saying, goddamn, should the Pelicans take year 7? We should be in the NBA Finals by now, to be honest. We should be in the NBA Finals by now. Shit, the Mavericks traded Luka, but at least they made the NBA Finals before they did. We should be in the NBA Finals right now.
We need
so,
to talk
Evan, I
about
hope your Wi-Fi is working again.
Can we talk about something else?
Should the Pelicans tank, Evan?
Bro, we need to talk about something else because obviously talking about the Pelicans hurt my Wi-Fi. Because obviously, talk about this, y'all. My Wi-Fi went out. So as I say, man, Pelicans, they like, ooh, Pelicans, ooh, we hurt.
Nah, I feel like, you know, this ain't the first time your Wi-Fi been acting up. So as much as you talk up data, apparently your Wi-Fi sucks out there.
But no, honestly, yeah, the Pelicans should take. I think the Pelicans should take, and y'all should have a brand new head coach for next season.
What about GM? Because if we keep David Griffin, this would be his
GM. GM got to go too. Griffin's been. I give Griffin one thing. He's been swinging for the fences every single season. He's making trades after trades, trying to amp up this team, but it's just not working. And now it's getting to a point you're going to just be in cap hell, and that you really can't. You can't do anything. You got all this money tied up to players now.
And he actually drafts well. He drafted her.
He does. He drafts well. And he's made, like, I will say one thing. I know I like to talk shit about New Orleans teams. I was really excited for the Pelicans this season. I really thought y'all had every piece that y'all needed to be a good top 5 team in the West. I really did. And it just did not. I mean, you can't control injuries.
We say that every
And
year, man. And some of it is bad
yeah,
luck.
you do say that every year. But also, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. If Zion's getting hurt every single year, there has to be a point you like Zion got to go.
I'm not opposed to that.
He has to go.
In fact,
Just like
I'm
Brandon
probably-
Ingram, like it seems like Brandon Ingram left. I feel like y'all should have kept it, Brandon Ingram, but teach his own.
why?
I'd rather kept him than Zion.
Dude, Brandon Ingram sprained his ankle in November or whatever. That's the worst sprained ankle of all time. I guess Michael Thomas has competition now for the worst sprained ankle of all time.
You got New Orleans Pelicans ball boy spraining ankle. It's just what the city is.
I never sprained my ankle, boy. I was one of the greatest ball boys of all time.
Yeah,
but I will say they made the playoffs a lot more times with me as a ball boy than without me as a ball boy. So get it right. I'm not opposed to getting rid of Zion. Like his stock is yet again high because he's played great. Like that's what frustrates me about Zion. Like I know what his ceiling. Like dude is incredible. I want him to show me that he wants it. And we're going into year 7. We're doing the same song and dance. I know there's going to be offseason hype. He's going to have a nice puff piece article by somebody saying this year Zion is really dedicated and this offseason this is what he did. And we've done that song and dance for the past feels like 3 years now. This is the offseason that Zion finally got it together and realized his importance to the team and yada yada yada. You got to show me at this point. I don't want to see no goddamn news articles or interviews. I want you to show me. But you can't change a dog spot overnight, some people say. So if a team comes to us with a deal that is too good to be true, I will entertain it. I know a lot of fans are going to be like, no, you can't get rid of Zion. You can't. And I don't know what this team, with this fan base's infatuation with this mediocre ass era that we've been in. I mean, again, we've only won 2 playoff games in the past 6 years, but apparently fans are like, oh, but we can't trade Ingram. We can't trade Zion and all that. I don't know what the infatuation is with these guys, but Zion is potentially a great player. And if you want to say, you know what, we know what the devil he could be. We don't want to deal with the devil he probably won't ever be. So we're going to trade him while his stock is high. I would not be mad at it. But first thing we got to do is the NBA draft lottery. Everything that we do in the offseason is contingent on where we land in that draft lottery. I am praying that we get a top 3 pick. I'm praying that the draft lottery guys reward us for us not tanking and say we're going to give y'all the number 1 pick, unlike Utah, who is deliberately trying to tank to get the number 1 pick. Thank God they got draft lottery odds and that it's a swing at the fences when it comes to the ping pong balls. But if we get the number 1 pick and we get Cooper Flag, well, I'm sorry, Zion. I mean, I'm not opposed to a Zion and Cooper duo, but from day one, Cooper's that guy now. All of his Harper, all of his Ace Barrett, like whoever. If we end up with like the number 6 pick in the draft, oh, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I'm like, this was the most worthless goddamn basketball season of all time. But if we get a top 3 pick with those prospects in the draft, well, then now you can really see what you want for the vision of your team, including one Zion Williamson. But I'm actually in agreement with you with like he shouldn't be as untouchable as Pelicans fans make him out to be. Because what has he done to be considered or classified as untouchable? Luka-Doncic was untouchable. He brought you to the goddamn NBA Finals. So how is Zion not untouchable to fans? No. If an NBA team is like, hey, we'll give you 3 number 1 draft picks, I'm listening. I'm not saying I'm accepting, but I'm listening. It's going to be interesting.
I agree. I feel like the Pelicans should took what Oklahoma City Thunder did. They traded Russell Westbrook. They had Paul George. They traded them all away. Got picks. Now they're the top team in the West right now with still 6 future first round picks.
Come on, man. It's amazing at the 2019, like all of the hype that the Pelicans had of being like the team of the future, and all of these teams that have lapped us since then, including the Oklahoma City Thunder, including the Pistons, who beat us by 46 points last night. It's like, good Lord have mercy. And I'm not going to see my opening rant, but I can yell about it all I want, Evan. If the general consensus of New Orleans is like, yeah, it's the Pelicans. Oh, well, we're just happy that they're in New Orleans. Well, then what can I do? I mean, the front office clearly doesn't feel any type of pressure because fans are like, they lost by 46 points last night, Evan. You probably didn't even know that until you woke up this morning, huh? Like, oh, damn.
No, I saw it. I saw the clips.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I saw it was no defensive effort. I saw guys just out there just playing. I feel like Willie Green was trying to coach, and they were just not responding to him. And you could tell. You obviously could tell about the effort. I feel bad for Willie. And again, the fans just accept it. Let the Saints do that. Let the Saints have a game where Cam Jonas and the running back just ran past me. He's like, whatever, the season is over. Boy, it would be, Bourbon Street will be on fire. You said Cam Jordan?
Shut up. I know what you're about to say.
No, I didn't hear you. You say Cam Jordan?
Yeah, I say Cam Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Bourbon Street would be on fire. Frenchman Street would be riots if the Saints play like that. The Pelicans, the fans are like, well, Jonah, the season was over by November. Okay. I already ranted about it. It's all good. It's all good. Because we got a super chat from my dog Ziggy. Y'all better give Ziggy his flowers. Ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend was 316 day. If you know, you know. If you are this shit more than a game certified, you better know what 316 day is. And we take that day very seriously in the John Barnes household. We definitely take it very seriously in this shit more than a game community. So first of all, I want to say to everybody who celebrates 316 day, happy 316 day. I know it's late, but it's a very important holiday in our world. And second of all, here's an exclusive for you guys on YouTube. Here is how I have celebrated 316 day the past 5 years, because when I say this shit more than a game, I don't say it just to sell t-shirts. Lord knows Evan hasn't never gotten a free one. I say it because this shit more than a game. And God damn it, this guy is one of the reasons why I believe that this shit more than a game. Here is my last 5 316 days. And Evan, two days, Evan, one. I know Stone Cold is like a god in Texas. So when are you going to join me and celebrate 316 day with a beer shower?
Man, just let me know when.
All right, maybe for
I'll come to your city. I'll come to New Orleans. We could do it.
And 3 days now. 2, my favorite one so far was when I got to give Sean that Stone Cold stunt, because I called Sean over. I was like, Sean, I'm gonna give you a fake kick and just take a step. I don't know if you saw. I kicked that boy. I said, this is my chance to really get him. I kicked him pretty good in 2022. But third, that's not content, y'all. I don't do those 316 videos for content. If you saw, the first year was 2021. I wasn't even doing content in 2021 in March of 2021. I do that because I genuinely celebrate 316 day. That shit is literally more than a game. So it ain't content. I'm just giving you guys exclusive videos of what I do when I post it now on my YouTube, because I do have a platform now. But the beer showers that I do on 316 day, that's not content. That's not me trying to go viral. I do that shit because Evan can tell you. Ziggy can tell you. My wife can definitely tell you. My mom and dad and all my family can tell you. Y'all damn sure gonna see next year in WrestleMania. That guy, I'd rather die for that guy. That guy helped mold me to who I am.
So, gentlemen, let me ask you this.
I had Eminem, I had Stone Cold. I had my dad, first of all. My dad was like the main head honcho. But right after that, and I'm not a celebrity worshiper, but Stone Cold and Eminem were like the guys that made Lil Young, adolescent, very impressionable John Barnes become the man that he is today. You hear that this shit more than a game? Y'all don't hear that because Stone Cold said so in that? Y'all don't hear the passion, the vitriol? I learned that from this guy and Eminem. So I take 316 day very seriously. He is a legend. I hope that he's at WrestleMania this year, and I damn sure hope he's in New Orleans next year for WrestleMania. But just know, when y'all see those 316 day videos in the beer showers, it is not me just trying to do content. I do that shit because I believe in that shit. Happy 316 day, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. And so, y'all, it's been a great John Barnes show. We talked about a lot of things. I'm glad we were able to have Evan on for the final 45 minutes. Evan, as you can see, though, the lone remaining thing in my man cave right now, that this shit more than a game man cave, is Stone Cold Steve Austin. But as you noticed, since December, my wall's a lot drier now, right?
Never noticed.
That I know there's all the alcohol behind you. That's why you got them stupid ass takes you have. So
never noticed.
My wall is dry because I will be now transferring over the This Shit More Than the Game studios to a new location, guys. So all that to say, I will probably not be doing a show for the next 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, unless. What the hell? Does Ziggy hit that button? I will not be doing the show for the next few weeks as we transfer over the This Shit More Than a Game studios to a new location. Unless something like major happens, of course, then I would definitely find time. It's got to be like a major move, like the Saints trade up for a draft pick, even before draft day. Then, of course, I'll find time. But all that to say, make sure you guys have your bell notification on. So if I ever do go live in the next 2 weeks or whatever, you'll know when I'm on live. But do not expect a John O'Barn show as I move over the This Shit More Than a Game studios to a brand new state-of-the-art studios. Y'all gonna love it. Y'all gonna love it. For football season, we definitely gonna have it all together. But we definitely got, and it's not I don't want y'all to think that all y'all super chats went to the brand new state-of-the-art This Shit More Than a Game studios. No, we use it for stuff like equipment and stuff. But y'all played a big part in it. So there's gonna be a brand new This Shit More Than a Game studios because you guys deserve the top of the line content. But to get to that point, I got to move everything over. So for the next few weeks, y'all, I will be MIA, but you will still be getting videos from me and some funny skits that Evan absolutely loves. And of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter for all of my thoughts on every single thing. So just know when I'm not on next week or the week after or whatever, it's because we're doing some pretty important stuff here in the John O'Barnes household. Evan, you haven't been on the show in so long. I don't even know you got the memo, dog. Part of the reason why we are moving to This Shit More Than a Game studios is because we need more space for one John Barnes Jr., the first ever This Shit More Than a Game certified baby. So, Evan, I know you're not going to be an official uncle like my brother, but, we're all brothers here. So you're going to be an uncle again to another baby.
I already got enough.
You know. Huh? All right.
I already got enough. Please, no.
Well, you got another cousin coming your way, Evan.
I got a whole NFL team of nieces and nephews. I don't need no more.
Either way,
man, congratulations, man. Congrats.
Thank you, Evan. I appreciate you. Please, to the This Shit More Than a Game community, excuse my tardiness, my absences the next few weeks as I got to get some stuff together. And you guys are going to love the new state-of-the-art This Shit More Than a Game studios that will be definitely complete by football season. So, Evan, because we're going to be off for the next few weeks, you... All right, so what it's March 18th. So I guess that means you in line to come back on the show in July. Any final days you want to say before we wrap up?
No, you funny, right? Hey, man. Hey, I'm gonna see y'all in August.
You sure about that?
I see y'all in training camp.
It's gonna be November. Heaven gonna be like, yeah, I told y'all the Cowboys was gonna be.
I see y'all in training camp.
No hot takes you want to leave everybody with. No predictions about any upcoming Saints or Pelicans failures. Maybe you think the Pelicans are going to get like the 8th pick in the draft lottery, knowing how lucky that the Saints are going to draft a bust in round 1, or the Cowboys are going to draft the next big MVP, which y'all, I think y'all got the 13th pick.
I'm gonna give you a hot take right now.
Okay.
Lent season started a couple weeks ago, and people don't know, but I fast during Lent. I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. I want you to elaborate. I'm actually very impressed that you, from sunrise to sunset, you do not eat. And I complain enough about Lent during Fridays when I can't eat meat. You, from sunrise to sunset, do not eat food, which I think is, let's give Evan a round of applause. That's admirable. I appreciate that. But say what you got to say about that. Your spiritual journey.
So I don't eat. And also, I can't drink during that time too. So I'm a very sober person at them right now. And so if you're talking about my favorite, my final moments, I'm hungry. So let's wrap this up so I can eat plate 2 of my dinner.
Well, I do know that part of the reason why you got to go on a spiritual journey is because you're a goddamn Cowboys fan. So I understand why you are fasting, because I would probably be doing the same damn thing if I was a Cowboys fan. But Evan, we appreciate you joining the show, man. Thank you so much. And yes, as Mick Swagger says, along with 316 Day, for sure. I can maybe excuse if you don't follow 316 Day, but 328 is coming up. Unfortunately, I will not be on live for that, but you damn sure better celebrate 328 Day if you are This Shit More Than a Game certified. If you see a Falcons fan on 328 Day, do one favor for me. Give him a fuck the Falcons, and damn sure let him know that it's shit more than a game.
Juno.